all day long. Joining me now to react in aviation, attorney Mark Dombroff and former Transportation Department General Counsel Steven Bradbury. Gentlemen, thank you so much for joining me tonight. Mark, I want to start with you. We're lucky it wasn't worse, but how in the hell did that happen? I mean, they're not giving us any answers, and quite frankly, Pete Buttigieg needed to be out front on this absolutely immediately. And this is obviously my opinion, but when Pete Buttigieg goes to Portugal right before a potential rail strike and is caught taking multiple private flights or government flights when he damn well shouldn't have been, that's why a tarnished reputation is important in a time like this. I digress, but Mark, what do you say about the lack of answers we've gotten about this?
Well, I think that's the real question right now, Dagan, is why did this occur? We know what occurred, and I suspect the very first in line in terms of wanting to know why it occurred is the FAA. And I think we all anxiously wait to see whether this was a software error, a hardware error. We've had lots of speculation, right. But I think we really have to wait and give the FAA an opportunity to get out in front and explain what occurred or why it occurred.
How long is a reasonable amount of time before I move on? Mark, how long is a reasonable time to wait to get a solid answer out of the FAA, the Department of Transportation, somebody, anybody? Give us an answer.
I wish there were black and white answers to the question you asked. The one thing I'm reasonably comfortable with is the fact that the FAA would not have allowed the system to move forward, effectively rebooted the system, released all the aircraft, and, if you will, resumed business as usual regarding air traffic, unless they had confidence that it wouldn't occur again. I'm not going to say it won't occur again, but that it wouldn't occur again. How long is it reasonable to wait? I have a feeling we're going to know a lot sooner rather than later as to what the cause was. I think the issue is going to be, once that's determined, is what is it really going to take to fix it? Throwing money at it, having hearings, inventing things, I think that remains to be seen.
Well, you just hit the two magic words for everyone in Washington, D.C., Steven, on that, and it's hearings and it's money. And you went through the numbers on what's been allocated in the annual budget specifically to transportation and the Federal Aviation Administration, and especially during COVID. Break down those numbers. In the Department of Transportation budget, the FAA's portion is around about $18.5 billion, but only really a sliver of that goes to the IT systems there.
Well, that's right. The FAA has gotten huge amounts of additional funding for COVID and under the infrastructure bill, but those are mainly for grants to airports and airport authorities and other things. For the IT systems, not a big boost in the budget. It's a few $1 million. They also have a chunk for cybersecurity of their systems. Now, this is within the Air Traffic Control Organization within the FAA, and it has separate line items in the budget for its equipment, facilities needs, and its IT. So I think the jury's out on whether there's enough money. There's certainly a lot of money in there. This is a system that's been operating for a long time. It's a system that is sort of pieced together from different carriers and serves the whole country nationally, one dedicated system for these pilot alerts. But we see how critical it is to the operation of the system and safety. It's unacceptable for this system ever to go down.
Do you think that money is the solution, Steven? And did I catch myself saying only $18.5 billion? Because if I did, I know that you two gentlemen are not here with me, but if I did, can I please ask someone here in the studio to jerk a nod in me for saying that? But I guess, you know, we had $5 trillion in new spending and just in new borrowing in just the last couple of years. So, you know, when it's a B and not a T, it just seems so small. But Steven, is there, just what do you make of that amount of funding for the FAA?
Well, listen, the FAA is a safety agency, and it performs a critical, essential service in terms of maintaining the safety of national airspace. We have the safest airspace in the world. We shouldn't forget that. It is a premier aviation safety organization anywhere in the world, notwithstanding all the issues. But this network cannot go down. And it's either a resources issue or it's a management issue. And I think, Congressman Sam Graves, Chairman Sam Graves of the House Transportation Committee is clearly going to hold some oversight to get to the bottom of this. But the President of the United States should have an answer the same day as to what caused a network like this to go down and a plan, an action plan for ensuring it doesn't happen again. There are no excuses for something like this. I think Secretary Buttigieg is kind of now feeling the heat that Bob Jordan, the chairman of Southwest Airlines, felt when the systems at the airline failed during the Christmas season. This is something that should never happen.
But we don't. But it is always different when it comes to a single airline because flyers have a choice in many instances. But this is government. We get a choice, every 4 years. But what I was trying to make the point is that Buttigieg acting like it's okay to be in Portugal before a potential rail strike or to take government flights when the former head of Health and Human Services had to resign over such shenanigans. Or it wasn't even shenanigans. It was really abuse of taxpayer dollars. But one thing I did want to point out, and I'm going to quickly get you, both of you gentlemen, to respond to this. Mark, if you really want to get mad, so the FAA department, the budget of the DOT budget is $18.5 billion. These airlines during COVID in direct payments got $54 billion. And during 9/11, they were bailed out to $5 billion in cash. $5 billion in 9/11. They got $54 billion. That is about 3 times the annual budget of the Federal Aviation Administration. The amount of money, and regardless who was president, this happened beginning because it happened in 3 tranches, 25, 15, and then $14 billion, beginning under President Trump. But that amount of money was misspent, regardless of how you look at it. Gentlemen, both final word. Mark, to you first.
Well, I think the suggestion that Stephen makes, or if it's not a suggestion, I'll state it, and that is the FAA is woefully underfunded and has been for many years. And I think in many respects, we have taken for granted the levels of safety that this system has achieved. And perhaps it's a good thing that their appropriation is up for hearings again this year.
Right.
And perhaps they'll be able to get the kind of funding that they really need. And I think we need an explanation, and we need it now. Right. For people to find themselves out there having to travel and not being certain as to whether they're going to get there, put aside weather issues, given what just occurred, is just simply not acceptable.
And Stephen, on that, if Pete Buttigieg is going to be your boss, give me a reason that I'd want to go work at the FAA.
Well, I think that this highlights always the potential for inefficiency in a government bureaucracy. Now, I have a great respect for the FAA and the air traffic control operation at the FAA, but, there have been proposals to privatize the air traffic control in this country. That's happened in Canada, other places. It's worked very efficiently. And that may be the answer. And I think, that's something that Congress should take a hard look at.
They should also take a hard look at that $54 billion that the airlines got, and now why, say, airlines are cutting service completely to a lot of cities in areas across the country. I kind of thought that was part of the deal. Just asking. Thanks, Mark, Stephen, both of you, gentlemen. So terrific to talk to you.